Hey everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we'll be going through an unboxing and review of the Studio Series Voyager class Battletrap, and he is figure 99 of the line, and Battletrap is from the upcoming movie Transformers Rise of the Beasts. So delving back into some of the Rise of the Beasts figure line, now that I'm tangenting into that area, with the first being the Voyager class Cheetor. So here we have the front of the Battletrap box. Now Battletrap is going to be a Vehicle. So he's sporting an interesting logo here in the bottom left. Front of the box has a nice shot of Battletrap, and here's what is going to be a very iconic wrecking ball. And then through there we can also see Battletrap as well in his robot mode. It's interesting to see that they're trying to close off some of the window gap as well. Hopefully to prevent wandering fingers from sneaking inside. But it'll definitely be interesting to see some of the detail on Battletrap. So that's the front of the box, side of the box. So your standard Studio Series 99 with another headshot of Battletrap, and then just more of a full body shot on the other side. In terms of the back, what do we have? So we will have a Scenic Backdrop, which I'm not too sure where the Scenic Backdrop is set. Attack the Museum. Can't really gauge a particular location. So we'll definitely have one of those, which is always cool. Otherwise we will have Battletrap in his robot mode, and then 30 steps to convert him into his vehicle mode, which in this case will be some type of Chevrolet tow truck. Very nice. Very interesting colours. We do have a little blurb here. Battletrap fires a barrage of blasts at Noah and Elena to secure the transwarp key. So this is the second time we've had a reference to the transwarp key, first time being on the back of Cheetor's box. So there we go. He does look very, very cool. Be very interesting to see how his transformation goes. So that was the outside of the box. So I'll open up the box and then we can have a better look at Battletrap, his inclusions, and have a more intimate look at his robot mode and then his vehicle mode. So with everything now out of the box, what do we have? We have one little accessory, being the interesting little wrecking ball that we see him supporting a lot. Battletrap himself, his manual, and what I have off screen right now, which I will try and make some space for, is his backdrop. So that's this nice little museum backdrop here. I'm assuming this is the front of the museum as opposed to the museum itself. Because if that's the museum, it's a little bit on the plain side. Now if I try and put Battletrap in there, appreciate it's not the most extravagant look, but that is Battletrap just posed ever so quickly in front of his Scenic Backdrop. Now I will try to do some more proper images with Battletrap and his backdrop, most likely on Instagram, but I'll see if I can post a few to the community page. So that is the backdrop. Okay, so Battletrap will come back to you. We'll come back to your accessory as well. But what I do want to look at is your manual. So standard manual for a Studio Series figure. Doesn't seem too bad, but it is going to be a very long manual. Just a few steps regarding the accessory weapon. So it can be attached to his hand, and it can also be stored away on his back. Very nice. Now the first 16 pages, steps, are a little bit all over the place, but it's not too bad. I'm quite intrigued to see how his hands go. Well, when I say his hands, the back of his forearms. I feel like there's a little bit of kibbling there in the sense of his tow truck hook, I believe, is there. It's not too bad, but just trying to figure out the best way to fold them and tuck them around. So that's 16 steps, not too bad. So a lot of it's mainly his torso area and bits of his arms. Go to the other side. Pretty much start converting around where his arms will finally go. Start looking at his legs and things like that. Does look like there will be some nice tabbing opportunities as well. So hopefully with a bit of luck, by the time he gets into his final alt mode, he should tab together very, very nicely. And before we finish, there is a little step on how to attach the wrecking ball to the back. And that will finish that. In fact, I don't know why I keep saying pickup truck, given that he has a giant wrecking ball on him. Anyway. Manual. Probably be useful to me later. With that being said, Battletrap, here's a quick close-up of his accessory. And according to the instructions, it will open up accordingly. It's a nice little section in here, which I suspect, if I look at his hand, so that will just slide in as if it was, you know, the handle of a weapon, and then appropriately close around his hand. So that is very cool. Now you won't be recreating the front artwork where he's throwing it around, but that still does look very, very cool. That is that, and then lastly, let's see if we can just quickly put it onto your back. I will admit I was not paying attention. I want to say it's like... Okay. Good news is, at least he can stand on his own. Okay, let me consult the manual. So there is a little bit of a tab here that will hold that, although... Oh, there you go. So just here at the very end of the rather lengthy peg, those little small bits will apparently just plug into there. And there you go. Now, to be honest, it doesn't feel like it's super strong and robust. I feel like if you press it enough, it will pop itself off, but yeah, it's okay. We'll figure out in time. But that's the wrecking ball attached to the back. So it is nice that he can actually attach it there when not in use for his hands. And it doesn't look like it's too cumbersome either. Although, there you go, point taken about it just springing off. We'll put this away now, but we will see this again in the transformation. Okay, Battletrap. What do we have here? So, let's do the routine. Look at you from the front, and I feel like I'm progressively moving things around the place, which is neither good or bad. So Battletrap from the front, and the side, the back, other side, top down, bottom up. This looks like will be really good, so you should actually hopefully have some good stability when standing up, which, by the way, can he stand up on his own 2 feet? Yes, he can. We'll come to his articulation in a minute. Do a quick close-up on his main torso and his head. Some very interesting detailing. Now, I know there's been a few people on Instagram, at least, who have been adding a bit more paint accuracy, detailing, washing, and things like that, and I will admit, it does look very good. For me, I'm happy just to keep him as he is out of the box, because I have enough hobbies that involve plastic and detailing. If I added Transformers to the mix, yeah, I won't get anywhere quick, except insanity. Anyway, what type of colors do we have for Battletrap? So, you have this very interesting, I'm going to call it pumpkin orange. Could even be a bit of more of a yellow as one of his colors. I feel he's probably maybe even a 50-50 between that and a nice type of grey. It does have some silver trimmings here and there, some darker grey, somewhat of the metallic side. There are some orange translucent components, which, to be honest, I think are just part of his cab windows. Bit of black for his wheel, bit of black for some other things, but overall it's mainly the pumpkin orange, quote unquote, and the grey. So definitely not too bad for essentially a two-tone colour figure. But some of the other colours where they are do help out very nicely. Okay, so that's colours. We've had a quick look at the figure. We've had a very quick look at your torso detailing. I guess from here, let's see how much articulation you have. So I'll just stand you up here. Now, I did mention it before, there does feel like there's a little bit of kibbling. So the back of his forearms, now I don't know how these things are supposed to move around. So I think that's some of the hooks for his alt mode. So they do feel like they just stick out a little bit, which isn't too bad, but if you like to do some very straight looking arms, you might actually find that you're having to do a bit of an elbow bend. So there's some of that kibbling on his forearms, and I feel his back isn't too bad, but I don't know if it's actually supposed to securely lock in place. I think it might do, and it's just possible that in the process of taking him out of the box I've just untabbed a few things. In fact, that actually does feel a touch more secure. I do say a touch because subject to where you're touching you may move something else, so be wary about touching in here, but that does feel a bit better. Kibbling wise it's not too bad. It does try to be somewhat neat and tidy, but bear in mind it's not fully secure, so you can inadvertently move it. Anyway, articulation. So now that we just stand you there, in terms of your head, you're very stiff on the joint there, but you can do a full 360. You have a little bit of up and down, which is good, so you can have a slight pan down and a very slight pan up, especially when you're looking to the left or the right. Now, there is a bit of movement there. I don't believe that's intentional. I think that's just part of the transformation, and it did make a bit of a click when I tapped that in properly. So, yeah, but overall, the head does have some movement, and it is good that it's not limited to just purely a 360 at the neck joint. In terms of the arms, I'm assuming this bit is supposed to try and stay somewhat tabbed in. We do have a full rotation here at the shoulder, can move up, forward, obviously to the back thanks to that rotation. In terms of the upper arm, just see what I can do there. There is a very careful 360 here at the upper elbow. In terms of the arm itself, it can straighten out like so, and you can do a normal 90-degree bend. It is only just a single elbow, it's not a double elbow. It can go backwards as well, just bearing in mind you'll need to move some of this back bit of his lower forearm. So that's that. Does his hand move? No, unfortunately there's no extra movement in his hand. So pretty much your standard shoulder, elbow mobility there for both sides. In terms of his waist, he does have he can do a nice 360. Just bear in mind you might need to just at this lower back section just ever so slightly move it out so you can do the 360 at the waist unencumbered. As for the legs now, what can they do? Well, without doing the other one, I'm fairly certain he can do a full split. So that's the leg to the front. There will be a 360 at the hip itself. Just be careful, there are some of the parts detailing that may just rub over each other. So the leg will go all the way to the front like so, back down. We'll only go to the back as much just because of some of the kibbling on the back and that just basically blocking the movement. Do we have some rotation here at the upper leg? Yes, we do. So there's a nice 360 up there. What do we have in the way of a knee? So that's the standard leg. In fact, let's do this. Standard leg all the way out. That's your standard knee bend. And it can actually just go a little bit further back as well with the lower leg. So that's not too bad. Does it go to the front? No, it does not. But that's okay. That is still a very standard knee bend for most figures. In terms of the lower leg, definitely not much movement here. At least in the way of articulation, there will be definitely movement for transformation purposes. And as for the feet don't really move around in the way of the socket, but they can move side to side here on the foot itself. So, well, at least only this grey part. And this other part, actually, does suggest you've got some forward and back motion there as well. So, in fact, it actually looks like it's partly independent. So you can lay it out, twist it around. It does look a bit awkward from an anatomical perspective, but it's not too bad. A little bit of movement in the feet does go a long way, especially for dynamic posing, if you need to get some feet stability. And what am I doing here? No, I'm just making things worse. It does sound like there's some type of tapping in there, but yes. Would be nice to see if these actually tuck in somewhere nicely, but I don't think they do. Well, that's okay. So that's a look at Battletrap's robot mode. So colors aren't too bad. The detailing is definitely very nice, and that's hardly surprising for a movieverse type of figure. So the detailing for his robot mode is very nice, very symmetrical. So you can definitely see the mechanical looks about him, but it doesn't seem too heavy. Like his vehicle mode is still quite noticeable here and there, unlike some of the early iterations of the Bayverse movies. Now that we've had a look at his robot mode, I will do the transformation, and then we can have a better look at his alt mode, have a quick look at the attachment in his alt mode, and then after that I can do some final thoughts. And with the Battletrap now in his alt mode. I'm fairly certain I've not transformed him too well, and I do put that down to the usual first time transformation, trying to get used to everything, so I'm happy to start waving the he is potentially mistransformed flag herein right now. So I guess from a transformation process, definitely a bit different in the sense that because I've been doing so much Beast Wars content for the last few weeks / months, it's been an interesting tangent to go back into more mechanical vehicle type alternate mode. So I'll definitely get a little bit of practice. I think if I do it again another once or maybe even twice even, I'll definitely feel a lot more proficient with the transformation. But definitely wasn't too bad. It's definitely something challenging compared to when I did Cheetor. Cheetor was very intuitive, but definitely not too high on the challenging factor. Battletrap, on the other hand, I think has more of the quote-unquote challenge. Anyway, what do we have in terms of the vehicle modes? So, front, and as I said, some things probably haven't tabbed in very well because I've potentially mistransformed it by a slight degree or two. Front, side, back. Ooh, that looked a bit nasty. Back, other side, from the top down, from the bottom up. So in terms of color palette, it's still the same colors that we saw from his robot mode. So it's that Actually, the more I look at it, it's probably a type of golden yellow, really. A lot more of that grey is quite prominent now. We do have more of that translucent orange, and we do have some grey detailing on the main cab. Bit of silver here on the front of the grille, as well as the, what do you call that thing? The name eludes me at this point in time, but you can definitely see that. In fact, there's a bit of detailing there as well. It's very nice. Tyres are very much in the black, and they do move, and we do see a bit more of the black as well on the crane hook, maybe. I have attached his little wrecking ball type item to the back as well, so he does look very cool there. Now, going back to what I said about the transformation, I don't know if I have done it fully right, especially with the arms, because I'm not too sure if his arms should be that prominent. It's quite possible they are. As I said, first time transformation, in between filming, a little bit of stress. But that's okay. We'll get through it. So overall, a very solid alt mode. I do like the detailing. In fact, if we look at the grille here, we even have the GMC logo here on the very front. Pretty sure that's slightly mistransformed. I feel that should tab in a lot better. It's definitely not too bad looking. And I do like the translucent orange. We also have some nice little detailing here on the side of the cab as well. This is a very nice look. In terms of articulation, it's just pretty much the wheels. So the wheels do operate independently and can roll forward and back. Very minuscule articulation here with the crane hook. This will obviously detach. In fact, if I just do it right now, and that it's already, in fact, I'll do it this way. So that is the ball taken off and the back of the hook, so that's not too bad. Overall, definitely a very nice looking alt mode. I do like the colors. In terms of tabbing, things do actually feel like they are supposed to tab very nicely, and I think right now I've probably not tabbed it very well in certain places, so it's probably not looking too fantastic. So hopefully when I do the shorts, the photography and things like that, I will have a better grasp on the transformation to and fro. So yes, a very cool alt mode, some nice colors, some nice detailing. Definitely feels quite solid when it's all tabbed together. So that is very nice. So that is Battletrap in his alt mode. Just bring back the manual for the front image. So, final thoughts. From a robot mode perspective, it's definitely nice to, slowly wander back into more robotic looking robot modes. In terms of look and feel, Battletrap does feel very nice. His weapon is a very nice take on things. For some reason, there's a lot of close combat weapons in this movie. So it's actually very nice that we have two different locations that the accessory can attach to, and can also be stored away, albeit not very well, because if you put pressure on it, it can possibly pop off. Colors look very nice in the robot mode, and as a Voyager, I think he has some sufficient height to him. I will have to do a bit of a comparison against Battletrap with Cheetor just to see what some of the height and scaling will potentially be like when we hit the Rise of the Beasts movie. From an articulation perspective, overall it's definitely not too bad. He definitely has the basic articulation in the core areas. The ones that I feel that will be a little bit diminished, a little bit in his arms, just because of his under forearm kibble from his alt mode peering through. That may or may not get in the way of his main torso when posing. So if you're posing his arms away from his body, not a problem. If you're posing them towards his body, you might find yourself having a bit of clashes between the kibble and the body. But the legs have some good articulation, and even for the most part, the arms are still pretty good. So I'd say overall articulation should be pretty average. Well, not average, should be pretty standard for a Voyager. The shorts and the photo set will obviously cement that when the time comes. So robot mode overall, very nice. I do like the look and feel. Obviously, Battletrap is a new character, so it'll be interesting to see how the character fleshes out in the movie. But robot mode, pretty solid. As far as alt mode, once again, it's another solid vehicle mode. It's very nice. It's different in the sense we've probably not seen too many of this style type of vehicle. I think the only thing that come close is possibly Hoist. So it's very nice to see this type of alt mode. The colours coming through, it's very nice, and as well as some of the extra detailing as well. Does feel quite sturdy, and I know I mentioned it before, the tabbing is also a nice thing as well. Transformation wise, potentially is where it is a little bit clunky with some of the steps, but I think that is just one of those things that resolve over time as you get a bit more practice and understanding where things are supposed to interlock. So definitely not a grievance against Battletrap. It's just one of those things where the very first attempt just unfortunately isn't that smooth. But at the same time, I did manage to get it to the alt mode and the sun hasn't risen, so that's a good sign. Overall, what do I think of Battletrap? Now, because the figures come out from the movie, I don't want to say reservations, but I guess they are reservations, to really understand how his character is developed and fleshed out outside of what we've seen from trailers and CG art and things like that. So, could be a very interesting character. Time will tell. So definitely as a figure within the Studio Series line, I think he's a welcome addition. He's a nice, refreshing change in look on things, especially being I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a Terrorcon. I have to double check that one. But he's a nice, refreshing take on everything. So overall, I would say he's definitely a nice, refreshing addition to the collection. Given the rest of the other toy lines in the way of Legacy Evolution, is really trying to stick more to a G1 style. So to have Battletrap in the Studio Series, as I said, it's nice because of the combination of design elements and things like that, without necessarily trying to have a G1 aesthetic. Accessory is nice, and overall I would say he's definitely a very solid acquisition. So if you see him, I would say you're probably in for a solid treat. Nothing has fallen apart on me yet, and hopefully nothing does, and time will tell how much I get used to Battletrap as a figure. So that brings us to the end of the unboxing and review of Studio Series Voyager class Battletrap, who's from the upcoming Transformers: The Rise of the Beasts movie. I'm happy with this acquisition. It's a very refreshing take on things, especially given that I've been doing so much Beast Wars. So I'm very happy to have Battletrap in the collection, and I do look forward to fleshing out the Terrorcons as time goes on. Haven't picked up Freezer. It's been a bit elusive in the way of acquiring him, and obviously Scourge hasn't come out yet, so it'd be nice to flesh out that particular subgroup in the upcoming months, as well as the other Autobots and Maximals, and hopefully some Predacons. Fingers crossed. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, link in the description below, and as I have mentioned a few times throughout the video, there will be some parallel content in the way of obviously the photography posts over at Instagram, but there will be a short or two as well between this video going live and probably the next day or two thereafter. We'll see how that one goes. Battletrap being the only figure I have from the Terrorcons may just be a single short. We'll see. We'll see. With that being all said, stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in another Transformers video, or potentially something else on the channel. See ya.